Hi and welcome to Great Getaways. Well, today we're going to take you out into this beautiful winter wonderland. Winter's a great time of the year. Danny and I have been at it a long time and we wanted to bring you the best of the best. So you can just sit back, relax, stay warm, and enjoy the outdoors just by watching this. Let's get started. Another time that we had was in Munising, Michigan, where we went back in to view the winter waterfalls. That was a trip unexpected and something everybody needs to do. We drove all the way to Munising, located on Lake Superior, and when we arrived just outside of town was a beautiful winter landscape of snow dunes formed by the winds off the big lake. It was so peaceful I just couldn't resist taking a hike along this frozen landscape. From here we headed to Wagner Falls, where we would put on our snowshoes and hike back into the falls. Take your snowmobiles and you head north up towards Munising. One of the stops you want to make is a place called Wagner Falls. It's just off of 94. Easy to get to. You can walk back to it, although you might want to have your snowshoes. We got enough snow back here. We put ours on to come back here and look at the falls. It's still open, so we got the water rushing over, ice around it, snow. What a beautiful, pristine area to come back into. You got to give it a try. It's worth the trip. Wagner Creek cascades over rock ledges in this area before emptying into the Anna River, creating a beautiful scenic spot. The ledges and waterfalls that occur in this area and throughout the region are due to the underlying geology, a hard, resistant camp rock that overlays a much weaker and more easily eroded sandstone. This is an outstanding scenic spot during the color season. We weren't done with the frozen waterfalls yet. Just a short drive away was the magnificent Munising Falls. Located in the Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore Park within the city limits of Munising, the Munising Falls Interpretive Center is at the beginning of the trail to the waterfall. We walked the paved quarter-mile trail up the shaded sandstone canyon along Munising Creek to the base of the falls, where we stood in awe of this frozen masterpiece. Two sets of stairs lead to platforms to view the 50-foot waterfall as it drops over the sandstone cliffs. Another place we've seen some great waterfalls was in Owen Sound, Ontario. And I'll tell you what, we got over there, we had to take our snowmobiles out to get to these waterfalls, but boy, you cannot beat them in the winter. Brian Plumstead, the Executive Manager of Tourism for Grey County, Ontario, would be our guide through Owen Sound. Anybody that knows anything about Canada knows Owen Sound, Ontario, located on the beautiful Georgian Bay. It's the cultural hub of the county with art fairs and festivals of all kinds, but today it would be our snowy playground. The day was snowy and overcast with snow squalls coming off the Georgian Bay, making it the perfect weather for those who love their winter sports. The scenery is just incredible as you run along the bay. It's the moody experience of mighty Lake Huron and the giant ships hulking in their winter resting place that make this a truly unique snowmobile trail. Our first stop would be in front of one of these monster ships that call this harbor home during the long winter months. You know, it's just so much snow falling out here. It was actually almost hard to see the trail because the snow around here, you know, it seems like a lot of trails I've been on, you can tell exactly where the trail's at, but the snow's so white here, you can't tell where it's at.
It's all lake effect, and we've been in a pattern here of about 7 days of just solid snow, and I think we're well over 6 feet that's fallen, and it happens. Owen Sound here is one of the snowiest cities in Canada. They get on average 3.54 meters of snow, I believe. Wow. Throughout the whole season. So what you see is what you get.
You know, and this is a good spot to come. It's surprising because we aren't really that far north. If you're coming from southern Michigan, where it's across the bridge and then maybe up a little, but
yeah,
not much at all. It's surprising how close you are.
3 hours from the border, maximum to Owen Sound, and you know, it is pretty close.
And we come into the city here and down on the waterfront, and we've got some big ships that are sitting here, and evidently they winter in here then too.
These ships, yeah. If you're from Michigan, you'll probably see all these ships going through the St. Clair River, you know, and they're hauling all kinds of stuff, and they come here and park for the winter and wait till things thaw out a bit, and then start going again.
Okay, well, it gives you a chance to come down here, and you can actually drive up next to them. You really get an idea just how big these ships are that come in here. So, where's our next stop going to be?
Oh, we're going to go probably head back out on the trail and head towards the clubhouse, the East Side Clubhouse.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds interesting.
You guys ready?
Super.
All right, let's get on the way. One of 3 waterfalls that surround the city of Owen Sound, Inglis Falls is best known and most visited. Situated in the heart of the 200-hectare Inglis Falls Conservation Area, Inglis Falls is an 18-meter-high cascade created by the Sydenham River meeting the edge of the Niagara Escarpment. The erosive power of the water has carved a deep gorge at the base of the falls. On a clear day, you can see down the valley and into the city of Owen Sound and out into Owen Sound Harbor.
It's a pretty neat spot.
Yeah, Inglis Falls, one of the stops on our waterfall tour. Of course, we've been here in summer, but it's a great place to visit in the winter as well. Yeah. So it's accessible from the snowmobile trail.
I guess with all the cold temperature, it's just covered right over. That's amazing, eh?
Yeah, don't see that too often. Usually it's open and flowing, but all the water's going underneath and carrying on down to Owen Sound.
On the sleds and headed for the lakeside community of Sauble Beach, located right on the shores of the Georgian Bay. Now, Denny wasn't the only one shooting on this trip. We had hired an independent producer, Bonnie Landry. Bonnie owns a company called Northern Spy Productions. That's always fun sending tapes across the border. Bonnie would be riding on the back of snowmobiles to catch all the action. She's good at this type of thing, young and attractive and willing to live dangerously. Thanks, Bonnie. I'm Benny Denny is glad it's you and not him. Arriving at Sauble Beach, our resident daredevil Bill Tennyson thought it would be a great place to test his skills. As soon as he seen a giant piece of ice sticking up at an angle like a launching pad, I knew he would not be able to resist the temptation. I think someone said, "You can't climb that on a sled." Wrong thing to say to Bill. There he goes. Another one of those scenic moonscape looks. Mother Nature continues to amaze me. As soon as I think we've seen it all, she shows us another incredible sight. One of the great times we had was up in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, where we went to the I-500, an international snowmobile race that is unique in itself. Let's take a look. We're here in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan today, just minutes before the I-500 snowmobile race begins. This is one of the longest, most grueling snowmobile races in North America, and we're down here waiting for that start. There's people all over the place. It's exciting out here, and everybody's just anxious for them to start on the track. Now, once they get going, this is a 1-mile oval track, bank curves. They're going to hit speeds excess of 100 miles an hour around here. Goes on for hours, so it's really an endurance race as much as it is just a snowmobile race. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Keep watching. You're going to enjoy it.
The mile-long I-500 snowmobile racetrack is located on the former site of a World War II ammunitions dump for Fort Brady. When the property was acquired in 1968 from the city of Sault Ste. Marie, and in less than 6 months, a group of tireless volunteers created the track for the first Indy-style I-500 endurance race for snowmobilers. In 1969, 47 drivers qualified their box-nosed sleds for the inaugural race, and after more than 13 grueling hours of speed and handling, Dan Plank and his Ski-Doo crossed the finish line first, followed by the remaining 26 sleds. A full I-500 race today takes approximately 8 hours to complete, as manufacturers back and highlight their sleek, speedy sleds. Between 8,000 and 10,000 spectators gather to watch the machines skyrocket around the icy track as courageous drivers hang on around the corners and hit about 100 miles per hour on the straightaway. Shades of the infield at NASCAR events as race watchers park all varieties of vehicles at the track and on the bluff to get the best view as the snowmobile drivers jockey for position. Part of any great race is the fun of tailgating, and the I-500 is no exception. As a matter of fact, they may do it better than anyone, with custom-built getaways to the food that you will probably only find in the northern UP.
Okay, you come out here to the race, and there's just people all around. There's a bluff that kind of goes around the track, and you get to sit up on this bluff, and you'll see people sitting in the snow. You'll see them standing there. You'll see them in tents and chairs. Along this area, we've got a whole bunch of tailgaters that come out here and have a great time and a great party, but some people really know how to do it right. Now, you guys have come down here, and you built yourself a little shack out here. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, we've done about 15 years ago. My brother-in-law does a lot of work on the track up here, and so that's him there. And he got this spot here, so he smoothed it off and built this shack. We all put a few bucks in,
and there you went. You guys come out here every year and have a great time then.
It's all family. Most of us are.
That's nice. Now, you do a lot of grilling out here, too, and you've got some good food going. What do you got going here?
We got some pheasant here. Try a pheasant. This is walleye.
That's walleye. Oh, look at this stuff.
Pheasant poppers. Try one.
You know, just sitting here putting out my snowshoes reminds me of a trip we took up to Munising. We went out to a place called the Pine Martin Run, middle of winter, nobody else there. What a beautiful area it was. We got a lot of snow out here, and it's powdery, and even with these snowshoes on, we're sinking down, and it was work just getting from the parking lot to the trailhead here. So we're going to go ahead and get started and see how far we can get. Maybe take it down here. It should be pretty. Pine Martin Run is composed of 5-loop trails with interconnecting spurs. It meanders past lakes and streams, gently rolling hills, bogs, and wildlife openings. If you plan on camping, it is permitted throughout the area. However, permits are required for camping on Swan Lake, Triangle Lake, Iron Jaw Lake, and Lake 19. These permits may be obtained at the office of the District Ranger at Manistee, Munising, or Rapid River. We were ecstatic to have arrived just after Mother Nature had blanketed the area in white diamonds. Well, it's always nice to be the first one out here. As a matter of fact, every time I've ever been out here in the winter, I've been the only one out here. So if you like a little solitude, this is a great place to be, and it's always fun coming out and breaking the trail through. I don't know whether you can tell or not, but just in front of me there's a small bridge, and you got to kind of keep your eyes open, because if I'd have stepped to either side of this, I'd be falling off into a little creek here. So come on out, have a good time, but be careful while you're doing it. The beauty is something I like to capture so that I can share it with all my friends. If you'd like to see some of the photos of this trip, just visit our site and click on our winter photo gallery. Well, this looks like a pretty safe place to get off the trail for a minute, go over by the side. It's a little more open here. And actually you can see down there, you can see the ice, and that's the Indian River right there. I thought it might still be open at this time of the year because it is a fast running river. It's fairly shallow, great canoeing river, but it has frozen over. I don't think I will go down there and walk on it. I wouldn't trust it that much. But as I said, this trail does run along the river. And another thing too, if you're out on a day like today, we're not getting any snow, and there's not much of a wind either. And you can walk these trails, and so far I actually haven't seen any markers out here, although the trail's been easy to follow. But if you're ever concerned about being lost, it's really pretty simple. You just follow your trail back, because we've left quite a trail behind us that you can see in the snow, so it's easy to follow. And that's always a good way to get back out of it if you're worried about where you're at. So let's go ahead and keep going. We've been looking for more information on the history of this gorgeous area, but so far all we know is the little bit of information the National Forest Service puts on their website. As we find more, we'll post it on our site with today's show. Big Springs is many things to many people, but one thing it is to everyone is beautiful. Devin offered to give us a winter tour of Palms Brook State Park, home of this area's most intriguing attractions. Snowmobiles are not allowed in Palms Brook State Park, so we could only ride as far as the parking lot. In fact, Palms Brook is a designated state scenic area, so except for a summer boat launch, no other sport or recreation is allowed. But as you'll see, the trip to this remote area is one everyone should take. The Native Americans called it the Mirror of Heaven. Kitchita-Kippy and believed that its waters held mystical powers. How else could the still water not freeze during the legendary Upper Peninsula winters? Indian lore tells the story of a young maiden who dove into the water. She was transformed into a beautiful white deer. Some say you can still see the outline of the white deer on the rocks under the water. Now, of course, legends aside, we know that the Big Spring, as today's locals call it, is a natural mineral spring. In fact, the Big Spring is Michigan's largest, over 200 feet across. During the summer months, this glass bottom raft is operated by the park with guides to give you a detailed tour around the whole spring basin. Today, we were on our own to man this primitive powered system so we could get a closer look at this ancient attraction that still inspires wonder. Well, it was time to move on, and as you can see, conditions were ideal. Hearty amounts of snow tumbled from the skies throughout the morning. The plentiful snowfall meant we not only had great sledding conditions, but we would enjoy a picturesque winter landscape. The overhanging pines were laden with snow, giving the path a tunnel-like effect. With an average of over 165 inches of snowfall, Schoolcraft County is a winter paradise for outdoor enthusiasts, and especially snowmobilers, since there are nearly 400 miles of groomed trails. These trails are part of more than 2,500 miles of well-marked, well-maintained pathways throughout the Upper Peninsula. These snowshoes might not have helped me up in West Branch, but I'll tell you what did, and that was snowmobiles, and boy have they got some great trails up there.
We're kind of like a hub and a wheel here. You can go east, west, north. You can go all the way to Mackinac Bridge with connecting trail systems. You can go all the way to Traverse City, Sheboygan, anywhere you want to go from this trail system. A lot of people come here and park and ride to the bridge, stay overnight, ride back, ride around the area, and then go home from here. A lot of people do day trips from Detroit area, Saginaw, Bay City, come to our trailhead, and our groomers are based there, and they ride for a day, and they can load up and go home, be home in 2.5 hours.
As we were preparing to go, it was the constant hustle and bustle of people in snowmobile suits and helmets preparing for a day's journey. Some came here just to spend a couple of hours on the trail, while others used it as a starting and finishing point for a week's trek across Michigan. I guess the secret's finally out. Snowmobiling is one of the most exciting ways to experience Michigan's snow-lined backcountry in the winter. Unlike other snow sports, this one can be quickly learned and doesn't require a lot of physical stamina. 2 people can comfortably ride on one machine, so children and sightseers can be taken along on mini trips. Driving one of today's light, nimble snowmobiles is a cross between riding a motorcycle, driving a car, and steering a sled with handlebars, except that you control the speed at all times. Day trips give you just a taste of the fun to be had, but don't offer nearly enough time to really explore the wilderness and the fun of conquering hilltops and carving rooster tails and meadows of fresh powder. Snowmobile trips ranging in length from a weekend to a week or longer can change a boring vacation into an exciting adventure. If you're looking for a snowmobile trip to the West Branch area, make sure you contact Steve Leonard at the Visitors Bureau. He'll be more than happy to help. Trips can be pampered or rugged. Either camping out or staying in a comfortable inn like we did make a great vacation.
We're also a family-friendly area. Our trail system links with many little towns throughout Ogama and Oscoda County for restaurants and stuff like that. If a family wants to bring their kids up and they don't want to do a 20-30 mile ride, they can ride to somewhere to get something to eat and ride back or ride to the next place. You don't have to ride 100 miles to get facilities to get warm or something to eat.
When you're on the trail, stop and smell the pines. Of course, I don't mean literally, but slow down and view your surroundings. We have a tendency to take all this beauty for granted. Get off your sled for a while, build a fire, roast some hot dogs, and brew some fresh coffee. Make it a part of your snowmobile experience. You'll be glad that you did. Take some time for photography and exploration. The tall tales of Paul Bunyan, the legendary giant lumberjack, live in the north woods of West Branch and the whole Sunrise side of the state. As a matter of fact, this is the true home of the world-famous lumberjack. You'll find mammoth statues of the big guy. Lumberjacks did much of their work in the winter when it was easier to haul the lumber out of the woods. Paul Bunyan and his pals would be surprised to find out that the woods where they worked so hard have been turned into a winter playground laced with a spider web of groomed and marked trails. Ogama County and the surrounding area has over 1,200 miles of snowmobile trails radiating in every direction. A new color-coded trail signing system and corresponding trail map make it easy to get around. You can call for a free map or go to our website at greatgetaways.tv for an online version. The scenery along the trail is a mix of pine and hardwood forest, lake views, frosty fields, interspersed with plenty of rest stops, cafes, and resorts scattered along the trails. Encircled by state and national forests, we don't think you'll be able to find a better trail system with more amenities than we have here. And if you see Paul Bunyan along the way, tell him we said hi. Now, if the video should look a little shaky, that's because sometimes it is. The trails are not all perfect, and Denny was doing his best to show you what great trails they are. Hang in there, buddy. If you fall back, we'll come back and pick you up. Maybe later. The following is from a Pure Michigan campaign, and I think it fits our travels today. Along shimmering, snow-covered ridgelines, in and out of 6,000 miles of maintained, interconnected trail systems, soaring through a Michigan winter, sharing the experience with our family and friends. It's what snowmobiling is all about. Well, I could have used these snowshoes when I was up to Houghton Lake for Tip-Up Town. What a great festival they have up there. It's something for the whole family, and I know it's something you would enjoy too.
We hope you are bundled up warm for today's show. You'll need layers of clothing, dry mittens, a warm scarf and hat, and your snowsuit. With temperatures in the 20s, more than a foot of snow on the ground, and nearly 3 feet of ice on Houghton Lake, the stage is set for Tip-Up Town, USA. It's the very description of winter fun and enjoyment for the whole family. Join the thousands of Michigan residents and visitors from neighboring states who return each year to see this largest winter festival in Michigan. And while we are here in the Houghton Lake area for the 2-week event, let's enjoy all the winter sports that make this a winter haven and a winter wonderland getaway that is fun for the whole family. What is a winter festival without a winter parade? We huddled up to watch snow-tired trucks pulling floats of outdoor enthusiasts greeting parade goers along the M55 corridor. After the parade, all will head over for the festival's events, including snowmobile drags and free carnival rides.
Where's you guys? Hey Claire, hey Jeff, how you guys doing? It is? Looks like you guys are set up and ready, huh? Good to see you. Good to see you.
The first bit of advice we got from the skillful fisherman was how to set the tip-ups that indicate you have a fish on the line. The hook is baited on a spool of line with a thin piece of metal that goes from the spool to the flag. The baited hook is placed into the water under the ice where the fish grabs the bait, the tip-up alerts the angler, and he pulls it up through the hole.
You know, I really like being out here, Claire. You know, we've been in Tip-Up Town and all the festivities going on. It's a lot of people, a lot of noise. It's nice to get out here on the ice, away from everybody.
The locals go.
Yep. Is this a special spot for you?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite spots. I guess.
Okay. Get pretty much everything. I know there's a lot of different species of fish in here.
Yeah, there's bluegill, sunfish, perch, walleyes, pike. Suckers, you name it, it's just about in here except for cold water fish.
Now we seem to have a lot of ice. It iced up kind of early this year.
Yeah, real early. We were about 3 weeks ahead of last year.
Okay.
We got on, first day I got on with the four-wheeler was the 13th of December, and last year we didn't get on until the 4th of January.
Has the fish have been pretty good for you this year?
Yeah, it's been pretty decent.
Now, does it usually stay pretty good until the ice starts going out?
Yeah, you have to move around a lot. Normally, I don't take the shanty with me most of the time. I just ride the four-wheeler up. There's days I'll put 50 miles on the four-wheeler running around.
Oh, no kidding.
Walleyes, yeah.
Just go out and drill, fill holes, a few holes.
I got about 120 waypoints on the GPS.
Okay.
We get during the summer and winter and whatever, and then we keep going back to them spots and trying them.
Aha. You got a destination in mind when you leave shore then?
Yeah.
Yep.
Just keep punching them in.
Well, maybe with a little luck, I don't know. You got me out here again, and my reputation is oh, what? You got something going there?
Yep.
Yeah, not my line, of course, but hey. Oh, nice walleye. All right, there it is, folks.
After a great afternoon of fishing, it was time to head back to shore and peel off the layers and layers of warm clothing that the cold still somehow penetrates. Thank goodness for fishing shanties. In fact, the expression tip-up town comes from all the groups of shanties that are skiffed out to the ice and left there, creating little ice shanty towns.
Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show. You know, watching all these winter shows makes me want to get out here and enjoy it, and that's what I'm going to do right now. I got the snowshoes on. I'm headed out for a little bit of snowshoeing. Have a good day, and we'll see you next week.